many respects, I would not be shocked at what Iran's response was. Almost.
I'm weak. Shout out to my man, the lunatic libertarian. He's like, make landlines great again. CBs is all also. I mean, shoot, we gonna have to go. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I love my cell phone.
To the point of being silly, but this is serious business, so it can't be silly. Now, President Trump didn't spell it out, but he hinted very strongly today that we will be taking, the United States will be taking, along with Israel, presumably, additional action, probably combat action. Mike, what do you think?
You know what? I think President Trump was right to test diplomacy, but Iran is now using it both as a safe house and a delay tactic. And they have 47 years of treating red lines as suggestions because of the lack of consequence.
I'm gonna be real with you. Both sides are using it as the delay tactic. The U.S. is using it to bring more forces into the region, and Iran's using it to start to dig out missiles. Yeah.
Consequences behind them. He did say something that I'll push against. He said that, you know, the ceasefire is on life support. Guys, I can make the argument that this ceasefire was clinically dead 2 weeks ago. And while diplomacy and pressure might have brought Iran to the table, the only thing that they will understand is punishment to bring them to reality. We need to hit them hard, and we need to hit them now, and don't stop until we have 100% submission and surrender.
Okay, so I would ask them, what does that look like? Because we did a pretty extensive bombing campaign on them already, and that wasn't working out for us. And the thing is, they were just bringing down the hammer on, well, Israel, UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Like, these were the guys mainly getting hit during our little exchange. So you're right. I mean, we can go in there and try to bomb the shit out of them some more, but I'm sorry, unless you're willing to put boots on the ground, we're not going to take care of the regime. We're not going to stop the missiles or drones. So how much force is he actually willing to, well, commit to this? And like I said, I mean, so what do you mean by we just need to put on full force until they surrender? What does that look like in your eyes? Are we taking out power plants and bridges? Like, what you talking about?
Well, certainly, just on that point, I'm coming to you in a sec, Aaron. Mike, President today meeting with generals and other national security
shout out to my
advisors.
man, lunatic libertarian. My bad, I missed this one. He says tyrants must be held accountable. Unite with us. Hey, now shout out.
He certainly gave out a lot.
Well, let's wait to see what Trump does in 2028. Let's see, because I've been hearing a lot of predictions that, you know, he could stretch this war out and be a wartime president and possibly go past, you know, his presidential term. But Lord knows the Dems ain't gonna let that happen.
A lot of hints. I think he's going to push back pretty hard this time. I think he's going to adopt your attitude. General Keane has felt the same way. Many of us have felt the same way, but it looks almost certain. My only question is, where? Is it Karg? Is it mainland? What are the parameters of this, shall we say, additional combat missions?
I'm going to choose all the above, Larry. It is Karg. It's hitting military command nodes. It's dual use.
I mean, all right, hitting Karg or taking Karg? Because if we're hitting Karg, well, all right, cool. But taking Karg is a whole different monster on its own, and they can pretty much entrap people inside of there. So, like I said, the further we go up the escalation chain, let's not sit there and pretend like Iran's not going to do anything. That's why the best option is to get towards a peace deal. Because if we keep going up the escalation ladder, I'm sorry, but the Middle East is going to be completely decimated. Well, at least the energy infrastructure and the water desalination centers will.
Infrastructure, hit them wherever possible. And I've got to bring this up to your point on the left, where they hide virtue or restraint with virtue and weakness with wisdom. I don't understand a party that would rather live on their knees than die on their feet. And any use of American power is a problem to them. Sometimes, guys, and I'm not always an advocate of this, might is right, and might is right in this case. It is just, it is noble.
Yes, sir. There are just wars. There are just wars. Aaron Cohen, welcome back.
I mean,
as President Trump's leading psycho,
you know, let's lean into his mindset a bit. Let's say I agree with him. Like, all right, might is right. Let's just take that route. Well, dog, we've been doing might is right for the past like 2 months and it ain't really work. We've been doing economic might. We've been pulling off economic might, military might, and the regime's still in power, Strait still closed, etc. So how far else do we need to go? So what? Are we actually going to commit to power plant and bridge day and they just start wiping out power plants and bridges throughout the Middle East like while we're doing it to Iran? Because you know that's what they're going to do, right? I hope you would understand this. Actually, Iran actually has the capability to shut off the entire internet within the Middle East. So let's be real. The more we escalate this, the worse it can get for the rest of the people in the Middle East. Like, I just don't think that's a good idea. The best route would be for a peace deal. And if y'all guys want to go up the escalation ladder, then you better be able to deal with whatever comes out of it and apologize to the American people when it comes. And don't just say, oh no, we should deal with the higher gas price. We should deal with the higher energy costs, deal with the higher inflation. Why? Because Iran doesn't have a bomb. Hopefully y'all don't do that to us. Well, oh, wait, too late. They're already doing it.
Analytic analyst, I want to ask you, what are you thinking now? What messages is he sending out? What happened here in your judgment?
Larry, it's good to see you here. I think Trump is signaling two things simultaneously. Let's pull back and do a little behavioral snapshot. He still wants a deal if Iran folds under pressure. That's one. Two, he's preparing the battlefield politically and military if they don't. When Trump says the ceasefire is on massive life support, I believe that's strategic messaging because all this is going to get played out in the media. So I think he's telling Iran, you are about to run out of your last inches of runway. And so Iran's response to the latest proposal, you listed it off, the sanctions and the blockade, recognizing I think it was Hormuz and then pay some compensation. And I think there was some talk of preserving parts of the nuclear program. Never going to happen. So that's regime survival terms. Trump rejected it immediately.
So, yeah, and here's the thing, though. It went from, oh, yeah, you guys can enrich at 3.6% to, no, we don't want you guys enriching at all. We don't even want you enriching at 3.6%. And Iran is kind of saying that, yeah, we're not going for that. But if that's what we want Iran to go for, then you could go with this guy's idea over here of, you know, this maximalist campaign where we just start destroying everything and see where that gets us. And I'll tell you this right now, it won't get us far. You can't bomb people into submission. You're only going to make them more radical.
And so Iran is doing again.
I mean, bro, that's the whole reason why we have terrorists. Terrorism or these terrorist groups are proof that you just can't bomb people into submission or you're going to create terrorists.
And what weakened regimes do after taking massive strategic damage, Larry.
Rebel forces.
They're stalling. They're buying time. They're creating fear theater. That's my new term of the week. And so trying to fracture that internal resolve. But I think military and economically, the regime is the weakest it's ever been in 40 years. So that I think the pressure campaign is working. The blockade is working. The strikes worked. And now Tehran is trying to use that diplomacy to recover.
See, here's the thing, though, because our intelligence already said that Iran could last out to like 6 months through the blockade. And then also, if you think Iran is going to wait 6 months until you just economically strangle them through the blockade, you're wrong, because they showed us that they're willing to attack the UAE while we're blocking the strait. So as time goes on, if we continue this blockade, they'll just start attacking our allies in the region. And we're going to be too busy trying to maintain a blockade to actually sit out there and protect all of our allies. Let's just be honest.
Leverage it lost on the battlefield. So they're running, Larry, they're on fumes. They're on inches of runway left here.
Yeah. There's nothing there. There's nothing there in their economy. I mean, when the New York Times writes 4,000 or 5,000 words on how bad the Iranian economy is, that's something right there. Very interesting point. But I think Israel will join us, right? And I think Israel, which has been in charge of...
no, they ain't going to join us. No, Israel's too busy with Lebanon. They ain't trying to join us.
Human resources and personnel will do its work on the so-called current Revolutionary Guard leadership.
Larry, the combination of Israel's upstream capabilities and being able to detect real-time signal, which is that incredible intel, and be able to route that in real time on the battlefields to the U.S. forces with their incredible might and technology, with that human intel that Israel's been building for 35 years, Iran doesn't have a chance. So I think it's time, and I agree with Mike, turn up the volume.
These guys, shout out to Fox, man. You know what? They stay consistent in trying to sell this war to trying to push the war. Bro, they're literally just like, you know what, Trump, bro? F it, bro. Bomb the fuck out of them. Take everything out. Maximalist campaign. I'm just like, bro, y'all's like the most bloodthirsty network on television right now. Shout out to Fox, bro. The most bloodthirsty network on television.
Time to go back in. I think Trump genuinely wanted to give them time. But the problem is you're dealing with psychopathic, homicidal maniacs who don't view this as just a pathway to suicide. Homicide isn't the goal.
Homicidal maniacs. They're homicidal maniacs, all right. But you got bro over here talk about a maximal campaign. Take everything. I'm just like, you don't think that's calling for, I don't know. And let's be real, I'm okay with the killing of militants. I'm okay with the killing of the IRGC. I'm all for that. But the problem is, it doesn't seem like we could do that without catching up civilians. So guess what, bro? You're also kind of sounding like a homicidal maniac as well.
Area, it's suicide. But they want to be the big shots in the Middle East. I think Trump is almost done. And I think we're going to see some military action turned up here. It's just a question of minutes.
Mike Sorelli, if we are headed down, the last few weeks or whatever, and there's going to be additional combat actions and so forth, at what point and how can we help? I'm calling them Persian Iranians. That's kind of, you know what I'm getting at, civilians, people who are not.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, the Persian Iranians aren't the ones you want to focus on. You want to focus on the ones that are not Persian. You want to focus on I think the Afghanis are there. They got the Kurds there. They got other ethnicities inside of Iran. And those are the ones that we actually prey on. Because I'm gonna be real with you, like Iran, they do their immigrants dirty. Like they'll let you stay there, but you get no social service. And this is how people like the Mossad and the CIA can move in, put a little money in their pockets and get them to, go against the government. It's a little harder to do that against people who actually receive, social services from the government. It's a little harder to turn people against their government when, they're getting that. But it's real easy to do it to, the guys living on the outskirts who don't get shit. Real easy. So I wouldn't be focusing on the Persians, the Iranian Persians. I'll be focusing on the other ethnicity groups if you really want to try to push a regime change, which would probably fail regardless. But I mean, that'd be your best option. Probably the best thing that could work.
Not part of the radical Islamism that's been running the country for 47 years. How can we help them overthrow this regime? I mean, I want regime change. I don't believe, Mike, this is just me. You're an expert. Aaron's an expert. I'm an amateur. But I don't believe we could ever believe, whether it's verification or any other promise, that will be kept as long as these crazy radical Islamists are in charge. I just don't believe it. So that's why, among many other reasons, I'd like to see the civilian population, become free and take this regime out.
The world would love to see it. The Persians would love to see it. And I think, Aaron, you called it 2 weeks ago or last week. You want to, create that motivation, that inspiration for the people to rise up. Specifically target the Bajij, the source of oppression against their people. So allow Israel to continue taking out key leaders, but we've got to specifically target in each province the Bajij leadership as well as their foot soldiers to give those Persian people a fighting chance.
Is there any way to, put some weaponry in their hands, Mike?
There's a multitude of reasons. And one, I'll say that Israel has the strongest human intelligence network within Iran. And Aaron just said it after building it for 35 years. This is why they're an invaluable partner with the same objective, to rid the Middle East of this evil. But, whether that's air transport, that's airdrops to arm the people, that is an option. And who knows, President Trump and the administration alongside Israel may have been using this time for planning to support an uprising in Iran.
That is a great point. Aaron,
Yeah, great point of delusion.
I want to give you the last word on that point, because the CIA has a lot of resources. Mossad has a lot of resources. Sometimes I think when the ILGC has national security meetings, a third of the people in the room are Mossad. They just don't know it. The mullahs don't even know it. So what did the brother Sorelli is saying? Could we pull it off this time?
100%. It would be a pleasure to watch Israel. And listen, you get a platoon of guys like Mike, Larry. You can drop these guys in an ice bucket right here. They'll be happier than than a pig swimming in. You know what I'm saying? You take the Israelis, you take the SEALs, you take the Green Berets, you get AFSOC, you get Israel's assets, put them together. There could be training packages. Mike, you tell me that could be happening right now quietly on the other side of the border.
But all right, now speaking of Israel, because we got to talk about Israel for a little bit, because I mean, shout out to the Dems on this one. Shout out to the Dems, because the Republicans would never, they wouldn't even dare do this. The Dems are literally pushing for Israel to pretty much expose their nuclear arsenal, to pretty much tell or to stop hiding behind, what was it, strategic ambiguity. Now you got to tell the people, do you have nukes or not? And if they say yes, then we have to stop funding Israel, because it is illegal to fund Israel if they have nukes and they're not under the nuclear proliferation treaty or any type of treaty about nukes. So yeah, shout out to the Dems for actually pushing on that and actually trying to push for Israel to recognize, for the world and for Israel and for Marco Rubio to recognize that Israel has nukes. Because it's kind of like the secret of the world that everybody knows. Like, it's not really a secret, but it's a secret. All right, but let's get into it. Because like I said, bro, the Republicans would never, that they're too busy being inconsistent about Iran.
The demand for more answers on Israel's nuclear arsenal.
Shout out to my man, the lunatic libertarian. He says the bombing of the Middle East eliminates any real history and allows for new stories. Must be the C theories. Call me the lunatic. Am I wrong or not? I mean, you know what's crazy? Yeah, the bombing of the Middle East eliminates any real history. You know what's crazy? Wanting the bombing of the Middle East kind of shows you don't have, like, you don't know any real history of what's been going on there. It's like, do you understand that the reckless bombing of these people have done nothing but create these groups of radical terrorists, you know, being on Holy Land and all that good stuff, invading, taking over, doing constant regime change. All this does is turn these people against us, create these radical groups and all this wild stuff. So when people say, oh, let's go out there and just bomb them like hell, I'm like, all right, but, you know, if you go out there and bomb Iran like that, the way I'm imagining you guys are, hopefully it's not like that. You're just going to create more IRGC members. I'm just going to let y'all know that right now. That's all you're going to do. Just like when Israel was recklessly bombing Hamas, all they did was create more Hamas. It's what happens. It's what happens when you literally become the enemy of an entire country. And then, you know, you just start recklessly bombing them. You know, you might have killed bros, mom, dad, sister, girlfriend. And now all they have is this ever-burning hatred for America.
The demand for more answers on Israel's nuclear arsenal. 30 House Democrats sent a letter to Secretary of State Marco Rubio urging the Trump administration to acknowledge Israel's nuclear program.
Real,
and for more
bro, I'm sorry, but that's just so real. Like, I gotta give it to them. Shout out to the Dems. This will probably be one of the few times I would say shout out to the Dems, but I mean, that's real. What? Like, what? After all the secret shilling y'all did for Israel, all of a sudden y'all come out and do this? I'm impressed. I'm happy about it. I can't be mad because I know the Republicans would never in their life touch on this topic. Never. Shit, man. They're going to gaslight you like it don't even exist.
Assurances given the ongoing war with Iran. They write, quote, Congress has a constitutional responsibility to be fully informed about the nuclear balance in the Middle East and the risk of escalation by any part of this party to this conflict, and the administration's planning and contingencies for such scenarios. We do not believe that we have received that information. This is sort of like an open secret. Everybody knows that Israel has nukes. We don't know how many. Is it time for there to be more transparency around that?
Well, it's not up to us. I mean, it's a very interesting story because we were put in a difficult position by the state of Israel. Some people out there might not know this, but the United States government tried really hard to prevent Israel from having nuclear weapons. It was not in the...
Yeah, they stole it. It's called NUMEC. They stole it out of Pennsylvania in a facility called NUMEC, and that's how they got their nuclear weapons, with the help of South Africa and France. And yeah, and guess who? And you know what's funny? Isn't it funny how all of those three now have nuclear weapons today? Isn't that just oh so funny? So yeah, Israel stole their nuclear weapons from us. And guess what? When we grilled them on it, when Kennedy grilled them on it, say, I know you're building it, bro, the man ended up dead like what? A couple weeks later? And he was literally yelling at the prime minister of Israel, talk about quit playing with me. I know you got the nukes. We got the pictures, but you're over here lying to us. So trust me. It does seem like when you talk about Israel's nuclear arsenal, you either get gaslit or if you're president, you know, there's that.
The state and national interests of the United States under the administrations of Dwight Eisenhower and John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson for Israel to have the bomb. The French engaged in a covert operation with Israel to help Israel build its capacity. The French were not straightforward with us about it, and the Israelis were not straightforward with us. By the end of the 60s, you have a new administration that comes into town, and the Israelis, the French have changed.
I'm sorry, but like, bro, this is just like retarded logic right here. So first off, Israel has already threatened to nuke countries if we don't help them. In the Yom Kippur War, there's literally saying they were going to nuke Egypt and what was the other country? I think it was Lebanon. They were going to nuke those two countries if we didn't continue helping them. So you kind of understand like why it's bad for a country like just to have illegal nukes. That's why it's bad, because they can engage in nuclear blackmail like they have before. So trust me, all the fear mongering that we're doing with Iran having nukes, Israel is doing right now. And they've already done it in the past. Nuclear blackmail. So I'm sorry, but to sit there and say that, oh, I'm scared of, oh, Iran's going to start firing nukes off at people. No, you want to know why Iran wouldn't do that? Think about like common sense here. One, bombing Israel or nuking Israel is going to affect the Palestinians that they put or Hamas is that they put so much money into helping out. So that's one right there. They can't nuke Israel without pretty much nuking Gaza as well. It's just not going to work out. And then also they're going to cause contamination in the, what was it? In the Arabic, I'm sorry, but what was it? Persian, it's the Persian Gulf. Yes, they're going to cause contamination in the Persian Gulf just by nuking in their area. So they don't even have that option. That's why they never went towards a nuke, because environmentally, it would just fuck up the entire region. It's just not worth it. And it's just really not worth it. Honestly, the best nuke they got is closing the strait without causing environmental damage. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just not ethnically reasonable to sit there and have a nuke and just bomb it within the region where you're literally going to contaminate your water source that they use for fresh water through the water desalination centers. Like, it just don't make sense if you really think about it. And it's the reason why Israel hasn't got a nuke today, because they understand that there really is no way of nuking Israel without causing nuclear fallout in the Middle East. And Israel understands that as well. But here's the thing, if Israel's ever in an existential danger, they won't hesitate to do so.
Their policy, and they're now not selling weapons to Israel anymore. The Israelis come to our government and say, we'd like to buy F-4s, Phantom bombers. We're willing to do that, but we say to the Israelis, but you've got to announce that you'll never introduce nuclear weapons into the Middle East. Because we were very worried about an arms race in the Middle East. And we were afraid that if the Israelis announced that they had nuclear weapons, the Egyptians would go to the Soviets and say, would you give us a nuclear guarantee? And we'd find ourselves in a Cuban Missile Crisis. But in the Middle East. So we're the Nixon administration, which, by the way, the Joint Chiefs of Staff didn't want Israel to have nuclear weapons. State Department didn't want them. Really, none of the leaders in that administration wanted them to have nuclear weapons, but they had them. And so the U.S. government came up with this fix, which was basically, don't say to the world that you have them, and don't introduce them. In other words, don't assemble a weapon, and we'll sell you Phantoms, because the administration was afraid that if they didn't sell Phantoms to Israel, members of Congress who were supportive of Israel would say, why aren't you helping the Israelis out? And the U.S. government didn't want to say, well, we're not helping them because they have nuclear weapons, because we don't do that. You know, we don't.
That's what I'm saying. We told Israel to claim strategic ambiguity, to keep on funding them, to keep on giving these guys weapons, because the fact that they have nuclear weapons, I mean, that should be the end of discussion. I mean, bro, you don't need anything else. You got the ultimate weapon. The hell we're giving you weapons for? You have the ultimate weapon. You got about 90 to 130 of them. So yeah, we have to cut off funding for Israel.
About the number of nuclear weapons France has. We don't talk about the number of nuclear weapons that the UK has. Those countries announced themselves that they were nuclear powers. So it has never been our policy as a government to tell people about our allies' nuclear arsenals if they don't say it themselves. And we're stuck in this policy because of the Cold War. It's a problem.
But
for
now
us.
that there is a hot war in the Middle East, does that change the calculus?
How does it advance the interest of the United States to force Israel to cough up this furball when everybody already does it anyway? What's the point?
Especially since the ambiguity, the strategic ambiguity of this between Nixon and Mayer at the time has led to 50 years of a lack of an arms race outside of Israel, right? Egypt does not, to our knowledge, have a bomb. Lebanon, Syria, all these countries did not develop nuclear weapons as a result of us essentially looking the other way.
Yeah.
Yes, but one of the things that has fallen away is our leverage. We've never had a lot of leverage over the state of Israel when it comes to its decisions on national security. They're an independent country. They have different our national interests.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people can now understand why we can't check Israel all the time. I mean, bro, these guys got nuclear weapons. Like, literally, they have nuclear weapons, guys. So it's hard to go against a country that has nuclear weapons and they can use it anytime they want. You kind of got to play careful with them. And I mean, that's kind of like, and that's the power that Israel does not want Iran to have. It's not that Iran's just going to start firing off into countries. No, it's that Iran's going to have to be left the fuck alone. And Israelis don't want that. And that's what nukes kind of give you. No matter what type of crazy ass government you are, if you got nukes, they'll leave you the F alone. Nobody's going to try to regime change you because they're scared that you're going to use your nukes. And at this point, North Korea has been vindicated by pretty much getting nukes. Because, like, look, hey, if you get a nuke, America leaves you alone. Nobody tries to overthrow you. It's all good. But if you don't have nukes, then you're going to get bullied by the countries that do have nukes. And that's a spot no country want to be in. So what do you think this is going to do? A lot of countries are going to start racing towards nukes right under our nose.
Their national interests do, overlap, but not completely. And Israel, time and again, and it's a Republican and Democratic administrations that have always been faced with this challenge. Israel does what Israel wants to do. And
guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen and smashing that like button, depending on how you watch it.
One of the things we haven't done as much of as that we could is that, like a good ally who wants Israel to persevere, we haven't used our leverage to say to Israel sometimes, the war you've launched against Hamas deserves it, but the way you're fighting it, it's not good for the international system and it's not good for us. That's what I think is going on here, and it's a good debate to have, not on the nuclear issue, but how can the United States use its leverage to make the Middle East more peaceful?
So here are some of the questions that Joaquin Castro is posing on this issue. Maybe this might answer some of your questions. What nuclear weapons capability does Israel have? Has the administration received any assurances from Israel that nuclear weapons will not be used? Has Israel communicated to the United States any nuclear doctrine?
I mean, that means we'd have to ask for Israel to give up their nuclear weapons. And Lord knows they're not trying to do that.
Any red lines or thresholds for nuclear use in the context of the current conflict with Iran? Has the administration assessed what circumstances could lead Israel to consider nuclear use? What contingency planning has the administration conducted for such a scenario? I mean, we do. Look.
Is there? I'm asking an honest question.
Hey, and shout out Cynthia. Shout out Cynthia for sending a laughing disco for $2.50. Appreciate the support. And what was I about to say? Hold on here. Make sure I catch that point again.
Planning has the administration conducted for such a scenario? I mean, we do.
Honestly, if it was me, bro, if I was president, I'd just be like, as soon as them start talking about it, I'm like, Israel, we're taking your news, but we got to take them, because if you want continuous support from us, you got to pick what's more important, our support or your nukes. And if your nukes are more important, then you can no longer get our support. But if our support's more important, you want to be in our good graces, then you got to give up your nukes. And maybe you giving up your nukes will maybe make Iran give up their enrichment. I mean, maybe not, most likely not. But I mean, hey, it'd be a step in the right direction.
Is there? I'm asking an honest question. Why? I mean, has there been some rumor?
Why? Because we're funding a country that has illegal nukes. If that's the case, yes, they have nukes. So don't even sit there and play stupid like they don't. There's not no rumor going like, why? Why we got to sit there and worry about Israel? Because we're funding a nuclear armed country that got it illegally, that committed a complete genocide in Gaza. That's why we're kind of questioning their rationality here. And it's fair to do so after what they've been doing. I mean, look what they did in Gaza. Look what they're doing in Lebanon. After those two, I'm going like, you know, I think we need to double check if you guys have nukes or not. I think this is a very concerning thing. Seeing your current actions, I don't think you guys are rational players anymore.
It says that Israel is going to nuke Iran.
Here's the thing. I guess the question is again, now there's been
shoot, y'all say that Iran's going to nuke Israel with no proof, no nothing, nothing at all. Well, actually, hold on. To be fair, they do have a countdown in Iran. What was it? A countdown to Israel is gone, which is saying like 25 years or something like that. So they do have a countdown, but they don't say what 25 years until we nuke Israel. I mean, come on now. What would be the point of waiting 25 years for that? They could have did that 5 years ago.
Change of status quo. Mm-hmm. There's a war between the United States, Israel, and Iran that is going on right now in the Middle East. And under those circumstances, that is actually different from what we've been experiencing for the last, 40, 50 years. And so under those circumstances, there's only one power in the Middle East that has a nuke, and it's Israel. And so the question is, what are the circumstances? What are the boundaries? Are there any boundaries? They don't acknowledge that they have them. People know that they do, but are there any boundaries? I think that seems like a fair question to ask.
I'm assuming that they're in executive session. The Armed Services Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and certainly the intelligence community are getting
I ain't gonna lie, man. This man Van Jones is doing some real Israel shilling right now, bro. Like I'm just looking at him, just like, really? So wow, this is pretty concerning. You're telling everybody, like, why does it matter? Like, why are we asking these questions? Bro, if you lost your mind, like, bro, we should have been asking these questions like years ago, decades ago. We should have been asking these questions.
As much of a briefing on the state of Israeli nuclear readiness as they feel they need. The issue here is whether it should be done publicly.
Well, are they? Because I presume that the reason that they've released this letter is because they're not.
So I think that's the question.
This is not about national. This is just political.
No, but this is a question. Should they be doing a gang of eight? Should they be doing a briefing of some sort to members of Congress? I don't think that is unreasonable at this point. And that letter made it seem like they actually don't have the answers to the questions. And to be honest with you, I think what worries Congress and the Democratic members is I don't know if the White House has asked themselves those questions. And so I think that is the concern, is that has the White House done—
guys, do me a favor and double tap that screen like the video, guys. Let's try to get to 100 likes by double tapping that screen. So I need about 22 of y'all to double tap that screen and like the video. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's get right back into it.
Their homework. Do they know the answers to these questions? And if they do, can they do a classified briefing?
Last question for you, Tim, because I think you laid out the history really. It was really fascinating. Look, we've been in this place for a while because of all those things that you laid out. But if Israel, in fact, has a nuclear weapon or nuclear weapons, why shouldn't they behave the way other nuclear states that are good actors do when they have those nuclear weapons? They have a certain degree of transparency. They have a principle around their use of nuclear weapons. Why shouldn't they be subject to that expectation, even if it's not a mandate?
Well, I'm not going to tell the Israelis what to do, but I think they should, of course. I know why we didn't, and I respect that.
I'm be real with you, I mean, we fund them. We should be able to make these dudes do backflips for us, like backflip and somersault through a fiery ring, the way we're helping them out. So no, they should.
I know why the United States doesn't talk publicly about it. I think they should. It's not for me to tell them what to do, but of course I think they should. I think they should announce that they have this capability and that they can protect themselves. And I think that would be healthy because we don't have a Soviet Union to provide nuclear assistance to the Egyptians. And then the Israelis would have these.
I beg your pardon. North Korea could provide immediately. Russia could provide immediately. Like I don't know what you're talking about on that regard. Like there is an axis of powers against us: the Islamic Republic of Iran, North Korea, Russia, and China.
Yeah, but
Three of them are nuclear
the
powers.
Egyptians are our allies. They're not.
Yeah, but let's be real though. Like we're not but that's the thing though, we're not going to get into it with those nuclear powers. So nuclear powers fight through proxy. This is the reason why, you know, we fight Iran through our proxies in the Middle East and they fight us through their proxies in the Middle East. It's just the way it goes down, like sadly. But here's the thing though, nuclear countries rarely come at each other because of the threat of mutual destruction. It's like China's afraid to really go at it with us because we could just start firing nukes at each other and just take everybody out. Same with Russia, same with North Korea. Shoot, worst case with North Korea, I mean, they could just start pummeling South Korea. So that's the problem with dealing with or coming at a nuclear country or a nuclear state. You kind of got to come at them a different way with respect, with some respect in your tone. Because if you don't, you might just be talking everybody into nuclear Armageddon.
Allied with North
and
Korea
the chessboard is not divided in half now. It's a dangerous world, but I would just say that I think it would be helpful for the Middle East for Israel in a way to acknowledge it, but no country's going to say how many weapons
I would pose the same question that you posed, which is why not? If there's no reason for them not to acknowledge it, given all the things that you laid out.
Let's have another show about that.
Yeah.
I'm betting he won't be there. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into Fox News. Let's see what their panel's saying. Let's see what they're saying. They're saying Trump rips Iran's weak proposal. All right. All right.
The high-stakes showdown with Iran could be reaching a breaking point. President Trump eviscerating the terror regime's lackluster counterproposal to the latest U.S. peace proposal. Here's what 47 said earlier.
A lot of people said, well, does he have a plan? Yeah, of course I do have the best plan ever. A very simple plan. I don't know why you don't say it like it is. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And they give us it's a stupid proposal. And nobody would take it, although Obama would have taken it, Biden would have taken it. What they took was far worse. You have the moderates and you have the lunatics. And I think the moderates are more respected. The lunatics want to fight till the end.
For the time being, the ceasefire remains in place?
You know, it's unbelievably weak. I would call it the weakest right now. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support.
And leave it to the Dems to always root for America's failure in the conflict with Iran, just as a way to try to stick it to President Trump.
This conflict has been a massive disaster, and Donald Trump himself is an embarrassment on the world stage.
What is a president willing to give up? What are the Iranians willing to accept? And they're now in a better position than they were, ironically, several months ago.
To negotiate. It also points out why it was so stupid to start this war in the first place. It's actually put Iran in a stronger position, at least.
Literally, like before this war, Iran didn't control the Strait of Hormuz.